我现在好激动啊，想跟大家公布一下啊，你们看看谁来了。我们亲爱的 Dr Carolyn Mcmakin 现在来到了我们的现场，真的好激动啊。谢谢 Simon 的邀请，来我们把话筒交给你。Hi Dr Carolyn Mcmakin, welcome to our seminar. Thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's perfect timing.
I'm so excited.
Well, thank you. It's good to be with you.
Yeah, thank you. Dr. Michael Chen, do you want to say hi?
Hi, hello.
Hello,
how are
Dr.
you?
Chen.
I'm sitting here in Taiwan.
Yes, you were in Taiwan?
Yes, I hope I have a chance to invite you to come to Taiwan at once.
I love going to Taiwan. We have done 3 courses there for the hospital in, I think it was in Taichung with Dr.
Really?
Daniel Wang.
Okay, nice. That's great.
At the hospital. It was really wonderful. I love Taiwan. Yeah.
Hope to invite you once. I hope, yeah, in the future. Thank you. Give the microphone to Simon. Thank you.
Let me just translate a little bit for Dr. Carolyn Mcmakin. It's such an honor to invite you to have you with us in our today's Zoom call. I'll just translate a little bit in Chinese first. 那我们今天真的非常荣幸可以把 Carolyn Mcmakin 医师邀请到我们今天会议的现场。他现在是在美国的 Oregon Portland。那他现在刚刚下班，在诊所还是在忙碌的做一些文件的工作。然后我刚刚就跟他联系上，给他请过来这边跟我们大家 say 个 hi。那我们刚刚 Michael 老师也跟 Carolyn Mcmakin 医师跟他有打了招呼。那 Carolyn 医师说他也是非常喜欢台湾，因为 Michael 老师跟他说他现在在台湾。那 Michael 老师在过往Carolyn 医师他目前过往也在有3次的机会去过台湾，在台中的一家医院跟 Daniel Wang 医师一起来合作去经营这个去教导这个 FSM 这个技术。So I'm just translating Dr. Carolyn Mcmakin, you're very in love with Taiwan and you have been there 3 times and we're glad to have you with us today. If you have a few minutes, I don't know if you would like to share with us a little bit about anything you'd like to share with us, or we can have a Q&A session. I don't know how much time you have with us today.
I'm here at the clinic and I'm happy I can answer questions, or I can just, I don't know how much you've already said about the Mag Healy. We use 2 frequencies at one time, which is different than the Healy.
Yes.
One frequency is targeted at specific tissues, and one frequency is to neutralize or balance an interference pattern with the proper function of those tissues. So together, the 2 frequencies seem to produce a very powerful effect to make people more comfortable and to balance their, what do we call it? The bioenergetic field.
Bioenergetic harmony, yes.
Yes.
So 我们刚刚说到的就是有跟大家分享过关于 Carolyn Mcmakin 医师的这个 FSM 的技术，它是有一个双频的技术，它有同时会释放出2组频率，有一组频率呢，它是会针对某一个组织某一个身体某一个部位，那另外一个频率呢，它是会帮助去平衡那个部位的一些一个状况，所以这2组频率结合在一起的时候，它会产出一个非常强大的一个共振效应，去帮助我们让我们去恢复这种的身体的一个幸福感，或者是提升我们这样的一个帮助我们去恢复这个平衡，还有我们提升我们的舒适度。
Good. Makes me wish I spoke Chinese.
我有问题好吗？那现在是这样哈，那个真的很荣幸，我很兴奋哈。那想问一下那个 Dr. Carolyn Mcmakin， 就是在Mag Healy 里边，这有一个 water application。Marcos 经常在跟我们说哈，这个就是水的这个 coherence 的重要性。那我想知道一下，我们在 Healy 里边，我们用线圈做了一些就是能量水，同时呢，我们有这个就是Nononina 先生呢，他也有这个水哈。那我想知道一下，线圈做的这个能量水，还有 Nononina 的这个水，以及你这个 Mag Healy 里面的 water application， 它们有什么样的区别可不可以跟我们讲一下？I know it's all Greek to you. Waiting for Sam.
Salmon, translate.
Okay, so Stella is actually the founder of our team of Coherence, and she has a background in acupuncture and also in massage therapist. She has many years of specific trainings as well. So she was just asking, because inside McKeely, there's 4 modules. One of the module is the water application. I'm not sure if you're a little bit familiar with the water application, because have you seen the Healy coil? Because using coil, we can also energize the water with coil. But with McKeely, there's also the water application to energize or to inform the water to make it more coherent. So when we drink it, it also helps the cells or our body to absorb this coherent water. Do you have any experience or any knowledge you can share with us about the waters? Or
we have actually been using electrical pulses rather than magnetic pulses. We would put the electrical leads from microcurrent in water, and we've been doing that since 1998. So for a very long time, and we found that the water will hold the pattern of the frequencies for 12 hours for certain. It diminishes over time as the random pattern in the water removes the coherence, but 12 to 24 hours it will hold. And on some patients, especially very sensitive patients, it's easier for them because it's not as strong, it's milder if you put it in the water first, and it's as if it gets the body accustomed to accepting the pattern of the frequencies, because the body is 85% water, and water is how the body communicates within itself. Water in your body turns your body into a semiconductor.
Yes. So you would put the microcurrent frequency, you would help to transform the water and let the patient drink it? Okay.
We have some practitioners have children who play soccer, sports, and they put water to prevent injuries, water to treat head injuries. They put those frequencies in the water that the girls drink during the game. And so there is an entire generation of children who have been raised drinking microcurrent water for their sports for 15 years.
15 years.
They started when they were 8, 10 years old, and now they're in medical school. They consider it normal.
Wow. Okay. Let me just translate that to Chinese.
Yeah.
所以刚刚Sarah老师问的问题就是那个水的这个部分那 Carolyn Mcmakin医师他说他们在他们临床的经验当中其实用微电流频率，我们都知道说微电流频率它可以在我们身体里面其实可以维系大约10到24小时这样的一个12到18或者24小时这样的一个时长。那但是如果说有一个客户他是身体会比较敏感的时候呢，他们就会把这个微电流频率把它打到水当中，让他的客户去把这个水喝下去，这样子可以让他可以去吸收下来。因为就是说，因为水是我们身体里面非常重要的一个部分然后它可以透过这个水，其实在身体里面有85%以上都是水，然后水可以帮助我们去这些细胞之间的沟通这些都是透过水可以很好的得到帮助。他刚刚也分享了，就是说在他过往的经验，他有认识一些朋友们，他们是就透过微电流频率的这个饮用水来从小时候就8岁的时候就帮他们小朋友来去给他们喝这些频率的微电流的频率的水，让他们可以有得到一个很好的一个运动的表现。那已经有15多年的时间，是很好的一个方式。 But my next question would be like, how would you put the microcurrents or frequencies to inform the water? Do you like wrap the leads around the glass of water? How do you do it?
We drop the leads into the water.
Oh,
we
wow.
clean the leads. And so at our advanced course in Phoenix, we have 5-gallon water dispensers, and we put the frequency for emotional relax and balance in one. We put the frequency for brain fog, or I think you call it, I'm not sure, brain balance is a concussion protocol. We put that in one jug, and we put brain fog or clear thinking in the third one. And the practitioners will go and choose what they need. So if something has upset them, they will choose emotional relax and balance. If they're having trouble focusing, they run clear thinking. And if they have just traveled or are under stress, they'll run brain balance, is what we call it on the McMakin. So we have been doing this for probably 18 years now into the water.
Wow, 18 years. Okay, let me just translate that. That's amazing. 所以 Carolyn Mcmakin 医师，我就问他是怎么样可以把那个微电流频率打到水当中呢？他原来是用贴片的方式把那个贴片清洗干净，直接把贴片放在那个水当中，然后开启这些微电流频率，就可以把这个水让它充满这个能量跟频率。那他们在之前在美国 Phoenix 开讲课的时候，他们也会在现场准备好几壶不同的水比如说是有5 gallon 这样的一个水，然后呢在里面他会做不同的能量水，比如说他有一个是心理平衡的，有一个是情绪的，有一个是让头脑可以思考清晰的一点不同的这些频率的水。然后当有一些学生可能觉得有一些比如说头脑不清醒或者是觉得情绪有点不稳定的时候，他们就可以自己去倒这个水来喝。那这个已经持续了18年的时间。It's really mind-blowing to hear how you would
amazing.
And the first time we did it, we did an experiment in my office, and I didn't tell anyone that we had run the, I think, concussion protocol or emotional relax and balance. We ran something into the big 5-gallon water jug that was in the hallway. And my bookkeeper is a normally very quiet, shy. Her password is Mouse, Ms. Mouse. So she's very quiet. And she came and got a glass of water, did not know that we had done anything to it. And 20 minutes later, she's in her office singing and making happy noises. And then after about 10 minutes, she came out and she said, "Did you do something to that water?" And we had to tell her, it's like, yeah, we did. So that was our first blind trial on running frequencies in the water.
Yes. Wow. Let me translate it for the audience. 他说 Carolyn Mcmakin 医师说，我们说真的非常听得目定口呆就是有这样的一个方式可以去为水去充电。那他说其实他们最先发现的这个方式是在他自己的办公室当中，他就去实验一下是不是真的能够这样做。他的办公室当中有一个员工呢是非常内向的，像文静的，那他有一天就去把这个水倒来喝，那平常都不太讲话的这样的一个员工，喝完了这个水大概是20分钟之后，他怎么发现说他在办公室里面开始唱歌开始很轻松的这样在跳跃活动了起来，就觉得非常的神奇。那这个员工就来找 Carolyn 医师，就跟他说，你是不是在这个水做了什么，下了什么东西？然后说是我们在水里面做了一个频率。Yeah, so we did put frequency into the water.
Magic water.
Yeah. Dr. Carolyn,
so that's how we knew it worked.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I was just telling the audience, actually, because I was trying to convey in this today's seminar, it's not just about the FSM technology, but I was also trying to convey the message, and all the years of your practice is through like actually testing, through experimenting, through documentation, error and trial. I really admire your patience and your love and your compassion towards your patients. And you're like a reporter to the war zones. You're basically like, this doesn't work, this work, and you keep trying, you never give up. And you give up all the time that you could have spent with your family, and your family, like you give up everything just to develop this frequency protocol. And we really appreciate to have you with us to develop.
Thank you. Well, once you find out that you can do this, if someone comes in and their pain is a 7 out of 10, and you do something and their pain goes to a 0 or a 1, how could you not continue? It would be wrong. It would be immoral, unethical to stop. So it has been, because my background is science. The methods of science are to do something, observe the result, repeat, observe, document, make it. There are times when I have students operate the machine, so I don't know what's being used. And that's how we started for 1 year. I would have students operate the machine, and I would, that doesn't work, that doesn't work. The machine was off and I didn't know it. No, that didn't work, that works. So that year we spent, and I was committed to know, determined. I was determined to know if the effect was real, or was it because the walls in my clinic were pink and I'm a nice lady? Is it placebo or is it real? And we found it took 5 years to 2 years to think it was real and not placebo. It took 5 years to find out for sure that it was real and not placebo. So
all your patience and your love, your compassion and your determination really pays off now.
Yes.
Your patient is so lucky to have you.
It's really deeply touched everybody. 应该说在我过往的20多年的职业生涯中我觉得我最大的遗憾就是认识 Dr. Carolyn Mcmakin 晚了。在读你的书的时候，我记得我跟Simon我们曾经说过我们两个那次非常 emotional 在说，就是 Dr. Carolyn Mcmakin 终其一生把所有的他的一生的经历，他的所有的爱呢，都贡献给他的病人，甚至他都不失去他的婚姻所以每看到这些，像你像就是您和那个Marcus 都是这样，为我们来说是一个榜样，真的榜样的力量是无穷的，而且我觉得真的是让我觉得是你的这种精神是直接去 touch 到一个人的灵魂深处的。
Stella was just saying your love towards the patients or the humanity and your spirit to help everybody is really like a role model for all of us. And Stella and myself, we are both actually a registered massage therapist as the manual therapist. And Stella was just saying, she really regret, like if she known you 20 years ago, I think it would completely change her practice.
and also lots of benefit for my patient as well.
Benefits for your patients, So let me just say a little bit of that in Chinese. 所以我刚刚跟 Carolyn Mcmakin 医师就是其实也跟他大概说了一下我们今天刚才稍早的会议，其实除了今天的这个会议希望让大家了解到 FSM 这个技术之外，其实我很希望再透过今天的这个会议让大家去感受到 Mcmakin 医师，他在过往这20多年来的这种的无私奉献的这种精神，去帮助大家，大家去研发出来这样子一个 FSM 这套系统，真的需要很多的毅力、意志力、决心、爱心，还有很多的这些勇气，去不断的去探索。因为在这个探索的过程当中，他刚刚也说到了，他整整花了2年的时间，不断的去摸索、跟探索、跟验证，其实他这个频率的这个共振效应是否是真实的，还是只是他想象出来的。他也透过他的学生去操作这些仪器，在他完全不知道任何频率或是有没有开机的情况下，这种的盲眼的这种测试来去看这个频率是不是有效的。他也另外花了5年的时间来去整合，说哪一个频率跟哪一些有什么样的一个功效，可以对什么样的一个共振产生一个效应。所以真的是一个非常，我觉得是一个非常好，这是一个漫长的一个研发的一个过程。他也说到了，就是我说我们很敬畏他有这种的精神去造福人类，就像马库斯先生也好，就是为了我们人类的一个生活品质也好，我们的意识的提升也好，做出很大的贡献。他就说到了，其实当你看到你的病人从进门的时候是可能1到10，他的疼痛点是7的时候，他出门的时候，他的疼痛点可能已经降到0或是1的时候，如果你看到你的病人有这样子的一个变化，你可以忍心的不去把这个技术分享出去给更多的人吗？其实跟我们 Healy 也是一样，我们 Healy 知道说 Healy 的威力这么强大，其实我们不出去分享的时候，其实是为我们的人类，为我们的身边周围的人带来一个其实是违背自己的良心，可以是这样说吧。So I just translate all that.
好啊。我想说的是我知道那边已经很晚了，但是对于我们来讲，这是一个非常难能的机会希望那个 Dr. Carolyn Mcmakin 给我们一点时间我有几个问题想问一下。就是 Marcus 曾经在 Orlando 曾经说过就是我们 Healy 里我们的经络是根据刚才你说那个 Dr. Wall 他的那个20个程序来做，那就是在我们的手表程序子午流注还有那个我们的就是 Nononina 的自然周期里面也是按照就是中国中医的这样12经络来走。但是 Marcus 同时也透露了在 McHealy 里边他的经络是特别的是非常 deep 的。那我想知道一下，可不可以给我们说一下它有什么区别？
Dr. Carolyn Mcmakin, I know it's pretty late there for you right now and you just finished work and you might not have your supper yet, but really, really appreciate and excited to have you with us. Could you spare a little bit more time with us?
Oh, sure. I'm just texting my sister telling her I'm still alive. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
I'm at the office on a Zoom call.
Yeah. Stella was just asking from previous meetings with Marcus to share about McHealy. He always mentioned McHealy is very special. It's electromagnetic, but it's also based strongly on the Meridian system. So since Healy has different Meridian programs, like from Dr. Vo, we have different Meridian programs, and according to the Chinese tradition, we have different times using corresponding to different organs. Would you be able to share with us a little bit how electromagnetic or the pulse PEMF or this technology, how does it work with the Meridian system? Do you have any Meridian pathways? Yeah.
When we use FSM, so when there is a professional version of McHealy that can be programmed, what we found, I think it was in 2003, so almost 20 years ago, we had acupuncturists at the meeting who were trained in China, and they would do pulse diagnosis.
Yes.
And so the patient was a practitioner, also an acupuncturist, and she had a very damp spleen, deficient qi. And so we ran the frequency. So we put a contact at her neck and a contact at her feet, and we ran the frequency for damp, congestion, and then vitality, and the spleen pulse came up then to normal in 10-15 seconds. Then the pulse for the kidney was weak and deficient. So we ran vitality in the kidney, and in 10 seconds, the kidney pulse changed. Then we went back to spleen. It was weak again. And the acupuncturist who was trained in China said, the lung is the mother of the kidney. Yes. I don't know what that means, but she did. So we ran sort of reboots for the lung, and we ran vitality in the lung, and all 3 pulses stabilized. Wow. That was 2003. So those programs are not on the McMakin because the McMakin is for the public. When you treat an acupuncture meridian, it is so important to get it right. You need to know what you're doing because the acupuncture system is so important. So this is not something that you would sell to a patient or an untrained person. In 1 or 2 years, when there is a professional programmable version of the McMakin, then I can put in protocols for the meridians that we have frequencies for. The frequency for the organ associated with that meridian is what changes the pulse or the meridian function. So lung frequency is the same as for the meridian lung, kidney, spleen, heart, pericardium, kidneys, gallbladder, bladder, all of the organ related, conception vessel and governing vessel, and triple warmer.
It's very complete.
Yeah, we don't have an organ for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
let me just translate that. So 刚刚 McMakin 医师的回应就是说，其实他透过 FSM 的这些频率当中，他也尝试过应用在透过这个经络的系统，因为在有一次培训课程当中，有一位学员他是有受过中医的这个培训会懂得把脉的。那在那个会议当中呢，他们就发现有一个学员，他的那个 spleen 应该是脾脏的那个经络，那个比较淤堵，然后比较湿气比较重。他们就尝试试验了用那个脾脏的这个频率的程序去帮他去做一个调整。那在10到15秒之后，他们再去帮这个学生去把脉，就发现说这个脾脏的这个气就回来了，提升了。那后来他们又去进行这个肾脏这方面的一个频率来去帮他去好像是增强他的活力，但是他们发现说10到15分钟之后，肾脏的这个活力提升了，但是脾脏的这个能量又下去了。那透过这个中医的这些理论，他们就发现说，原来就是要调整，需要去调整这个肺部的功能，因为肺部跟肾脏是有很强烈的一个关联，所以他们就去跑了一个应该说那个肺部是很重要的。那肺跟肾脏也是很重的关联，所以他们就跑了一个重新设置这个，好像是去调一下这个肾脏。那调完这个肾脏之后呢，他发现整个肾脏、肺或者是脾脏的功能都已经上来了，所以这是真的是一个非常神奇也好，非常的快速的一个转变。那因为这些特别个别的经络或者是胰脏的这些不同的脏腑功能的这些程序需要有一些专业的培训，因为你用错频率其实对身体是有一些反效果的。那也许在将来有专业版的 McMakin 的话，他会愿意的把这些频率也分享到这个专业版当中。那目前 McMakin 当中呢像是日常使用，就是给一般用户使用的话，大家就是不会去用到这些比较专业的这些频率。
太棒了哈！真的感谢他把这个就是我们在大型的医疗诊所使用的这样的频率仪器送到了百姓之家哈，我们就不用去学那些专业知识都可以用，真的是好棒。 那我有注意到哈，在就是我们的 McKinley 里边这个经典的应用里边有一个睡眠，然后在这个就是 mcmakin 的 application 里边也有睡眠。那在 Healy 里边我们还有这种系统睡眠啊、平衡睡眠。那我想知道他们三者有什么样的区别
So Stella was asking, thank you for sharing your insight regarding the Meridian system. It really actually, with the technology like the McKinley, it allows the normal public, everybody to able to use the FSM or to use a frequency microcurrent therapy to help support our well-being without specific training or knowledge. Going back to McKinley, there's actually different module. Let's say in the classic module, we know that the classic module is compiled from different frequency therapy systems. One of them is the sleep program, but also inside McMakin, the module, there's also a sleep program. Do you happen to know like what's the difference or how they might be?
I don't know. They asked me for our protocol for sleep and the specific, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say this, so I'll just take my chances. Specific frequencies for in our sleep program are to quiet the sympathetic nerves, to quiet the adrenals, and improve the function of the pineal gland, and quiet the cortex, the part of your brain that stays awake and thinks. And then increase secretions in the pineal gland to increase melatonin. And also, I think there are frequencies in there for emotions that might be keeping you awake. So you quiet the adrenals, quiet the stress response, quiet the medulla, increase secretions from the pineal, and then balance emotions that are disturbing, such as fear or worry or anger or resentment, and then finish with the frequency for restoring joy, which would be a good way to fall asleep.
Wow, thank you. Let's translate that in Chinese. So 刚刚 Stella 老师问的关于这个睡眠的程序 ，McMakin 医师说他不清楚其他的模块里面的睡眠程序的这些频率的功效，但是根据他自己在 McMakin 模块里面编写的这个程序当中，他说他也许可能不太确定能否在这里说这些话但是他就是跟大家分享了，就是说这个 McMakin 里面的这个睡眠的程序当中，他首先开始的一个流程呢，就是说他首先会去帮助去安抚，或者是让我们去降低这个交感神经的这个亢奋的一个状态，他会去缓解就是这个肾上腺素过分的紧张，或者是过分的活跃，然后它还会帮助我们的这个松果体，然后去提升，比如说褪黑色素的这样的一个释放，这些还有很多，比如说脑部里面的这些化学的作用。那还有就是说，它还会去平衡我们的一些情绪，因为当你有一些负面情绪的时候，它也会让你没办法休息或睡眠，所以里面比如说有恐惧啊、担忧啊等等的这些频率在里面。最后呢，就是像是刚刚有说到的97033，就是让你可以恢复到喜悦的这个频率。So the restored joy, is it the 97033 that you wrote on our books?
Yes, 97033.
I got that.
It's the only frequency that I developed myself.
Oh, so wow.
The original list came with frequencies for removing fear and worry, and I was negotiating a contract to lecture with a big company to lecture in Australia. And I was so worried and so stressed about making a mistake that I sat in bed one night and ran for 30 minutes the frequency to remove fear. And then another 30 minutes to run more kidney fear, like yin fear, like watery, worry, over concern. Those two. Well, at the end of the hour, I wasn't afraid, but I didn't feel anything. It's like I felt numb, right? And I thought, well, 970 is for emotional. What is the organ associated with joy? That would be the heart, right? The heart center. So I ran 970 and 33, and it made me feel good and happy. And so now that was on the list. That's the only one I've developed myself.
Wonderful. So 刚刚mcmakin医师说，我刚猜他这个喜悦的频率是不是970跟33？之前跟大家分享过，他说没错，这是970、33是他自己研发出来的这个频率的一个组合。那因为其他的这些频率可能是来自于之前 Von Golder 先生研发出来的，或者是 Abraham 这些先生研发出来的这些频率，但是970、33是他自己研发出来的。他怎么在这个过程当中去研发出来这个频率呢？是有一次他在澳大利亚那边有一个项目，有一个合作的项目，他就是非常的紧张以及担忧，他希望一切都是可以很顺利的进行，但是有一天晚上他就是非常的觉得恐惧跟有点担忧，所以他就把这个频率拿出来去应用一下在自己身上。他用了一个肾脏的程序，那我们知道说肾脏是跟恐惧方面有关系的，那他也用了一些关于恐惧跟担忧的这些频率，他发现用完了之后，他跑了大概30分钟，然后用完了之后大概1个小时，他发现他对于这次的这个合作项目的这个恐惧跟担忧就突然就消失了，好像自己觉得变得放松了这样的一个感觉，所以他就把这个他就想一下，他必须开发一个特别的一个频率给这种的情绪，所以他就说到970是针对情绪的，那33呢，有什么是喜悦的情绪是针对哪一个器官呢？就是我们的心，所以那33是相对应心脏的。So 970 and 33 corresponds to the joy from the heart.
下一个问题哈，就是说，我有看过，就是他的很多的 YouTube 上的 video 和他的书哈。那我知道他是痛症的 top specialist， 同时呢，对运动损伤这方面哈，他有很多独到的见解和卓越的见识。那我想问的是，比如说我们就刚才举的例子 ACL injury， 就是那个前十字交叉韧带这样的一个损伤，在他给我们的这个就是mcmakin 的 application 里边，它只有一个 joint， 而且它是 dual frequency， 对吧？双频的。那他现在给我们的这个 joint， 它这个 program 里是不是把2个 A 电路和 B 电路都放在一起？而且如果都放在一起，它只是对于这个 joint 有帮助，还是对就是这种 ligament 或者是 related 的这些有帮助？可不可以这样认为
？So Stella was saying, through your 20 plus years of specialties, especially in pain management, you have helped a lot of you have actually seen a lot of miracles right in front of your eyes happen. And from a pain specialist point of view of your specialties, we were talking earlier discussing about like sports injuries. It's also one of the modalities in FSM. So Stella was mentioning, for example, if there's an ACL injury, and inside McHealy, there's the joint programs. So if you run the joint programs, does that mean there's dual frequencies coming out at the same time? And is it targeting the joint itself, or do we need other programs to supplement to balance the situation with like an ACL injury? Or is there tendon programs?
The joint programs are more general to all the tissues in the joint. So the cartilage, the ligament, the periosteum, the lining of the bone, the joint capsule, ligament, connective tissue, it's for the joint. ACL, if it's just a strain, you support the joint, you tape the joint, protect the joint, and you run current to repair the ligament, and that's a very specific program. I think that would be more successful than just the joint pain. So if you just have maybe a little arthritis or overuse in a joint, the joint program would be very helpful. For a very specific injury like an ACL strain or hamstring strain or an Achilles strain, I actually don't think we put that in the McHealy. I don't have the list. There's 26 programs, and I think that I don't have them all in my head. Don't tell Michael.
No, we're not.
The other Michael.
Oh, Michael dance. So 刚刚 Mcmakin 医师说到，就是说对于这个情况下呢，他会建议说，除了用 McHealy 之外，比如说有那个关节的这个程序之外，如果只是一般 ACL 这个韧带的一个拉伤的话，应该是可以帮助到的，但是也是需要比如说透过一些绷带把它固定好，然后这个 joint 的这个程序的话，是针对整个关节周围的这些组织都是有整个概括的一个帮助，就是没有那么直接说针对某一个部分的。So when you use the program, there will be two frequencies simultaneously being targeting that specific spot. Would you put the McHealy at, let's say, this location that you need to have the balance, to be balancing? Or how would you use it?
I find it's more effective when you have the magnetic field close to the joint. I think that is more effective.
Wow.
It depends on the program. So the nervous system, so brain balance, you can put that on your stomach. You don't want to put it next to your head, because the frequencies address the part of the brain that they're supposed to address, whether they're at the site or not. When it's a joint or your digestion or liver support, when it's a specific area, it's better if you have it right over that spot. So
刚刚我跟 Mcmakin 医师问说，如果我在用 McHealy 的时候，是不是在用 Mcmakin 程序的时候，是不是最好可以把这个 McHealy 放在需要调整的那个部位上？他就说，如果是比如说是消化道或者是某一个关节某一个部位是有状况的时候，你可以把 McHealy 放在那个部位上，因为透过这种电磁场的这种理疗，可以很好的去平衡那个部位的生物能量场。那但是如果是比较整体的，比如说像是头部的或者是脑部的这样子一个平衡的时候，他不建议你把 McHealy 放在头上，那可以比如说放在身体上或者胸口上比较合适一点，就按照你看你使用的一个目的跟方式，但是他不建议把 McHealy 放在头的旁边。那the McHealy, do you think is quite similar to PEMF? Because we've seen from the technologies or your equipment that you use on your practice, there's the component of PEMF.
Yes.
Is McHealy in some way has this pulse magnetic field components, or do you know?
Yes, absolutely. So we have been using pulsed EMF. It turns frequency-specific electrical pulses into frequency-specific magnetic pulses, and we have been doing this for 6 or 7 years. And before I would let that company sell it, I had to convince myself that it was equal. Yes. And so I use our magnetic converter, our pulsed EMF that converts the electrical pulses to magnetic pulses on myself every night.
Every night, wow.
Yeah.
How about in your practice? In your practice, do you use that mostly, or do you still go back to the hot red towel sometimes?
I use the wet towels and the frequencies mostly, but today I had a patient that had PTSD, and so that program is almost 2 hours, is 2 hours long. That's too long to sit with something wet. So I use the magnetic converter and just place them in her pockets, and she sat and played with her phone and slept, and it's very convenient, and it does work as well.
Okay, let me translate that. 那我刚刚问的Mcmakin医师说，他关于这个，因为我们知道说他的 的这个诊所当中，他有应用到这个脉冲电磁场的这个疗法。那我所问他是不是我们的 McKinley 也有这种的 PEMF 脉冲电磁场的这种疗法的元素在当中，他说的确是的。然后那所以就是说，在我们用某些指定程序的时候，你是可以把 McKinley 放在你身体指定的某一个部位。那在他诊所的应用当中，我刚刚也问了他说，他现在是不是大部分的时间都是在用这种的脉冲电磁场疗法呢？他说并不是，他说他大部分的时间还是用湿毛巾来去用这种的微电流频率的方式来去应用，但是看情况，有时候如果他那个程序时间需要比较长的，像他今天帮了一个PTSD 的客户做了一个调理，需要2个小时的时候，他就决定用那个脉冲电磁场的方式，因为如果你2个小时都垫着湿毛巾的话是很不舒服的，所以他自己每天晚上也会用这种脉冲电磁场的方式来去帮助平衡自己。
太棒了。那个山门，我刚才的那个问题啊，好像你还没给我问，就是说他现在在那个 McMakin 的 application 里边，他的比如说 Joint 啊，或者是他其他的程序，他这一个 program 是不是里边含了 A 电路和 B 电路？这是我的问题，刚才的问题哈。那同时呢，他刚才有说到 Joint 的时候呢，那我们知道在就是现在的这些人膝关节有问题，我们有很多这样的病人，包括我们的客户哈，就这个 cartilage是磨损掉了或者没有，他刚才也提到了哈。那平常在我们临床治疗的时候都是用，就是真的是没有办法，我们是做那个 PRP 啊，或者是打这个蛋白垫。那这种呢 cost 非常高，像就是有的时候 PRP 或者是 stem cell 都是超过2000加币哈。那就是作为一个比较，如果他这个 joint 对于这个 cartilage， 因为他刚才提到有这样的一个效果的话，那真的是 McKinley 是一个里程碑，为病人省了很多的钱，也减少很多的痛苦啊。因为我们现在在治疗的时候 ，OK 不是不 cover 的，你知道的哈。
So Stella just wanted to confirm once again that when we use the McKinley with the McMakin frequencies, there's 2 dual frequencies coming out. That means there's channel A and channel B at the same time coming out from McKinley. Yep. Okay, so and that's confirmed.
When 2 frequencies cross in a field, you create a combination. You have in that space the frequency from A, the frequency from B, the sum of A plus B, and the difference of A minus B. All 4 of those are in the field. And even after 25 years, we don't know which part of that field is what is effective. So, but we do know that both frequencies have to be correct. So if you run the frequency for inflammation in the tendon, and the problem is inflammation in the bursa, the bursa is 4 hertz away from the tendon. And that 4 hertz makes a difference.
Yes.
So if you run, yeah.
Okay. So 刚刚 Mcmakin 医师说到了，就是说的确就是在用 McKinley 频率的时候，有双频的，有频道 A 跟频道 B 会同时释放出特定的频率。那在过去25年的实践当中，我们知道说这个双频的作用，它同时会释放出 A 跟 B 的频率。那有单独 A 的频率，也有单独 B 的频率，但是这2个频率在交叉的过程当中会有一个小小的领域，这个领域当中就会产出一些共振的效果。那这个效果它可能是来自于单独 A 的频率，可能是来自于单独 B 的频率，可能是来自于 A 加 B 的这个频率的效果，可能是 A 减 B 的这样的一个频率的效果。在过去这25年当中，他还不知道说是哪一个造成这样子一个这么好这么快的一个效果，但至少我们知道就是说这些特定的频率的组合的确是可以为我们带来很好的一个效果。那这些频率必须是特别的精准，像是如果是比如说韧带啊或者是关节，可能之间的这个频率相差只有4个赫兹，相差4个赫兹就会直往到不同的部位，就会看不到这个效果。
明白。
Stella was also asking, because we were talking about the joint issues with the cartilage, because joint, like the knee cartilage, like a lot of people having knee issues, and
Sure.
the cartilage is like once it's gone, it's pretty much gone. And some people use like PRP therapy, stem cell therapy, trying to revive the cartilage. If we can use McMakin, the joint program, to help balance the cartilage, would really like save a lot of costs for the medical system? Do you think that will be helpful?
We have only one case report, and it's with the electrical, not the magnetic, so I can't say. But we have one case report where the cartilage in a knee was shown to grow thicker.
Wow.
And so I don't have data from the magnetic field about that. So we'd have it, I think, using the joint program along with stem cells or PRP would be helpful. Using it before. So if it doesn't work, if the McKeely for joint doesn't work, you can always do stem cells later.
Yeah. Yeah.
那刚刚回复 Stella 老师的问题，关于这个膝盖的这个 cartilage 的这个问题，他说他目前的临床的经验来看，他只是透过微电流频率的这样一个特别的频率来去帮助这个 cartilage 的这个问题，他还没有这个临床的一些数据可以说到用脉冲电磁场的这个疗法来去帮助这个膝盖的这个部分，但是他的这个透过微电流频率的这个方式来去调整这个 cartilage 的这个问题，他的确有发现过案例是可以增强或是让这个 cartilage 慢慢的变厚一点点。那他的建议就是说，如果你希望去做其他的比较昂贵的治疗之前，你可以尝试用 FSM 来去帮助你看看有没有帮助。如果最多是没有帮助的时候，你再去找其他的疗法，可能是会比较好的一个方式。
那我的最后一个问题哈，想问一下，不好意思，伊利是这个身心灵的这样的一个三方位的这样一个平衡，我们说 detoxic 360度无死角的哈。那在你的McMakin 的 application 里边也有 detoxic， 那是不是也起到这样不仅仅是 physical 的，是不是我们的 spiritual 的它也有这个 detoxic 这方面
So our last question to you, thank you very much, Dr. Mcmakin, is that is that
I have
because
to go to bed.
Yeah.
I know.
Because you know.
Okay, one more.
Okay, our body is composed of the mind, body, and spirit. So when we use the detox programs, we know that not just the physical body needs to detox, our minds, our spirits needs to have some kind of detox as well. That's the Mcmakin protocol with the detox program. Is it only working on the physical level, or does it working on the mind and the spirit as well? And how we can use in general, like how I know hydration is very important. So before FSM and before using any kind of microcurrent therapy, you can share with us some tips on how to for us to have a better effects, or how to improve the effects of frequencies to help us sustain the effects. That's the last question. Thank you.
So being hydrated is important. But it doesn't take much, maybe 1 liter in the 4 hours before treatment. But when you think about detoxification, and you said mind, body, spirit, well, the detoxification program is for the liver, to help the liver process toxins and balance the function of the liver to detoxify your system. That in general will help make the mind work better, but specifically for the mind, that brain balance is what we call the concussion protocol.
Yes.
And that tends to balance the function of the mind and the stress centers in the brain. And then the emotional relax and balance, I'm not sure what we called it, but mind, body, spirit all go together. But because the protocols are very specific, you would use 3 programs to accomplish all 3. In acupuncture, expecting stomach 32 to do all those things is not reasonable. You have to balance all the meridians,
yes,
in order to get a balanced system. So it's the same thing with the Mcmakin. You would use treat the worst first.
Mm-hmm.
So if the patient is stressed and distressed, you could treat the liver and it won't make a difference. So treat the worst first. So you treat brain balance first, and then emotional balance. If they're just distressed, emotionally distressed, and then when you treat the liver, it will be more effective. It will, when you treat detoxification support, it will be more effective. Does that make sense?
Yes,
yeah.
makes sense.
Makes sense.
It's a very holistic approach as well.
Yeah, that's what we're about.
刚刚mcmakin医师最后的一个回复就是说，对，的确，补水、补充身体的水分是非常重要的。也许不用那么多，就算是至少在治疗前的调理之前的4个小时，喝1公升的水，其实也是会很有帮助的，在这个频率为我们带来这个效应。那回到就是排毒的这个过程当中，其实mcmakin医师说到它里面的这个排毒的这个程序，主要是会先从肝脏方面去提升它的这个生物能量方面去提升这个肝脏的这个状况，提供一个资源。那因为我们都知道说肝脏是我们其中一个非常大的一个排毒的器官，那去调整了肝脏之后呢，我们才可以能够去比如说调整其他的一些比如说情绪方面的或者精神方面的一个状况。那他会建议说，就是说除了排毒这个程序之外，那他还有另外一个叫做 brain balance， 就是脑部平衡的程序以及有情绪平衡的这2个程序搭配起来，才能够更好的去帮助我们的这个身心灵这样的一个排毒或者是平衡。还有就是说他会优先的去使用，比如说你现在目前的状况哪一个是比较优先需要去处理的，就先去处理那个情况。比如说是你现在目前是非常的有压力很大的，有受到一些精神上的创伤，你就先去调整你的这个情绪平衡跟脑部的一个平衡，最后再来调你的排毒，这样的效果会更加的好。那就看情况来去安排你这些程序。那主要是身心灵排毒平衡的话，是有脑部平衡、情绪平衡跟排毒。Thank you so much for Dr. Mcmakin to have you with us today. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Very much appreciate.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks a lot.
Simon， 你帮我跟他说一下啊，就是说今天晚上他都没有吃饭啊，而且我也非常遗憾上次没有去 Orlando。你跟他讲，下次我见到他的时候，我来请他吃饭啊。
Stella was just wanted to tell you that because she was supposed to go to Orlando 2 weeks ago too, but she didn't make it. So she missed the chance to meet you. And in order to appreciate your attendance to today's seminar, next time she sees you, she said she would treat out you a nice dinner for you.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me and for bringing me in, Simon. I appreciate it.
And then we have more than 230 participants from around the world, Asia. Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Mcmakin.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
I'm gonna send you some pictures for you, okay?
那我们真的是非常激动哦，
真的是哦，没完没了的问。
而且他蛮累的，因为他应该整天下来都在帮他的病人。